Hello my friends, Jerry Rosa here in the Rosa String Works workshop. We're over in Studio M, the metal working side of the shop, with a metal working project here, or at least it's mostly metal. This lawn tractor, my regular viewers know, has been giving me fits with a fuel related problem. I say it's fuel related. I've pretty much replaced anything and everything having to do with fuel on this machine. So let me give you a brief list of all the things I've tried on this lawn tractor right after this. Well, my friends, I've tried everything you can think of, I believe. I've replaced all the fuel lines, so they're all new. I've replaced the fuel pump. I've taken the carburetor off, completely cleaned it and put it back together. I cleaned it in a sonic cleaner, and I've gone through it actually twice. So the carburetor is in good shape as far as I can tell, and it runs. Actually, the whole machine still runs just fine. It only gives you trouble under a load. I'm still suspecting the fuel pump, because the fuel pump is one of these little plastic Chinese fuel pumps, and it's a suction pump. It's based on the suction from the engine. Again, I've checked all the lines, the suction lines, everything, and everything seems to be functioning fine. I've cleaned the fuel tank out. There's nothing in the fuel tank that's going to be any kind of a problem. I've checked the filler tube. I've made sure that the gas cap is vented. Everything is good. Everything. There's nothing you can think of that we haven't tried. Well, and by the way, I've also done all the normal maintenance stuff. I've checked the oil, spark plugs, put new spark plugs in it. It's getting good spark, all of those kinds of things. So what am I going to try today then? Well, I'm going to try yet a different fuel pump. I'm going to try to convert this over to an electric fuel pump. I'm going to hopefully do it in such a way that in case this electric fuel pump causes other problems or issues, I'm hopefully going to be able to reverse it and put it back the way it was. But I don't really know what else to try at this point, because I've tried everything. Every time it gets under load, it wants to die. Even when you turn the blades on, it wants to die. I still think it's a fuel-related issue. I really do. I really do think it's got something to do with fuel delivery. Might still possibly be the carburetor. I don't know. But we're going to try a fuel pump right now. Okay, so here's the fuel pump I'm planning to put on here. It's just an electric fuel pump that I bought off of Amazon. It's a low-pressure fuel pump, so it should theoretically work okay. It's got the in and the out, so here's the inside here, and this is the outside there. It'll actually go right here and replace this deal right here. So hopefully I can even use these screws and put it in right here. So this part should be almost seamless, and then all I have to do is find a way to have it keyed with the key so it turns on whenever you turn the key on. I've had this off enough. I know this is a 10 millimeter. I don't have to think about it. I've done all of this stuff so many times I couldn't even tell you. This fuel pump that's on here is actually the original fuel pump, or I shouldn't say original because it's not original. I replaced it a long time ago, but this was the fuel pump that was on it when it first started giving us trouble. I put a new fuel pump on it. It didn't help anything. So, that kind of tells you maybe it's not the fuel pump. But on the other hand, I don't have much faith in these plastic fuel pumps. Maybe they're just not putting out, Or maybe it's the line the suction line, maybe somehow or another, it's just not making suction anymore. I don't know. Regardless, we're going to try this. It won't hurt nothing to try it, and this is a fairly cheap thing to try, so that's why I'm doing what I'm doing. I know the fuel pump's working some because obviously the engine runs. I just don't know if it's putting out enough. That's the thing, and whether it is or it isn't, we'll know that shortly here, hopefully. Well, shortly might not be the right word, but hopefully fairly quick. Okay, so there's the suction line there, and that's back in here. I'm not going to worry about that at all right now. This is the inlet line here. We'll put that on. Okay, I think that worked. Wow, that was pretty tight. I might have to switch these clamps out to the screw-on type clamps. I think I'm going to see if I got some screw-on clamps and get rid of these squeeze clamps. I don't like the squeeze clamps that much anyway. Yeah, so I'm going to get rid of these squeeze clamps. Whoops. Well, temporarily I could probably mount it just with this one screw and call it good. So that's what I'm going to do. That'll work, at least temporarily. This hose here is a little bit pinched, but not bad. I don't think it's enough to close it off. Yeah, you just can't have everything, unfortunately. Alright, so now I'm going to try to figure out the wiring on this. So I'm going to turn the camera off and start investigating where I could run this wire. I'll turn it back on once I decide what I'm going to do with that. Well, I've been invaded. My son and grandson have been in here working on their lawn tractor. I have decided I'm just going to put an extra switch on this to turn it on and off for now. Maybe I'll figure out a way to key it, because honestly there doesn't seem to be a hot wire on the key, or at least connected to the key. In other words, you turn the key on, none of the wires seem to get hot. There is a hot wire at the key, which is really puzzling why it doesn't get hot when you... Anyway, it's just one of those deals. So I'm going to... I've got the switch mounted right here already. It's just an on-off switch. And I'm going to cut these wires. And we're going to put a ring connector on these to connect up to the switch, because obviously that is some kind of proprietary type connector that I don't have. Here we go. We'll find something in here, I'm sure. Here's one, here's one. This looks like these would be the right size. I'll have to think on this exactly how I'm going to wire this up, so give me a second and I'll show you. Alright, so what I'm going to need to do is I'm going to need to run a hot wire to one side of the switch, and I'll run this red wire to the other side of the switch. I'm assuming that the black wire is the ground, but I don't know that. Normally on a DC system, the red would be the hot wire, but who knows how this is designed, being from China, who knows. But anyway, I'm going to strip this off and put this connector on here. It seems to be crimped well enough. The ground wire is going to need to go to a ground. I could probably put it right up here. I'm going to need a bigger ring connector for the ground wire. Yeah, this will go on here, so I'm going to put the ground up to here, and we'll strip this off. I have these Tesman strippers. I really like these. A lot of guys will frown on this because these strip any size wire, but this particular brand is really good. I've tried several different kinds of these. The first ones I ever owned were great. The middle two suck canal water. This one works great, this Tesman. It's on the Products I Use page. Okay, that seems to be good. So let me get my 10mm again, and we'll attach this right here. So what I'm doing is just loosening up this bolt, and now that I think about it, it's going to have to be taken all the way out, because this is a ring, not a I don't know what you call the other kind, but anyway, this is a ring, so I've got to take it all the way out in order to put this in there. I don't know if this is actually going to ground right here. The way it looks, I'm beginning to wonder. I'm going to try it anyway. Well, this might be a better ground down here. Can't get this wrench on it though. I don't know if that'll work or not. I think this will be a better ground down here. So I'm going to try this. I think I'm going to wrap it around this hose a little bit to to take up some of the slack on the wire, to just keep this wire from catching into stuff. And the wrench fell down in there, but I don't see where it went. Where did it go? All the way back under the tractor, of course, because it could. Couldn't just fall where you could reach it. Impossible. Well, I'm thinking about it too. This suction hose, I'm going to put a plug in that. I didn't put one in it earlier, but I'm going to now. One of these little wire connector, turn it around. I think it'll be a good suction stopper here. To keep dirt from going down in there. There, that'll work. Filled it up real nice and tight. Now I'll put this back where I had it. Tighten this back down, because I think that's a better ground down there where I put it. Better than this one. This one will go to one side of the switch, and then another red wire will go to the other side of the switch. Okay, so I've got the switch here. I'm going to unscrew the one side. I'm going to wrap this cord around here just one time. I think will be good enough. And then I'll put the screw through here. Again, I'm wrapping the cord around this fuel hose just to keep the wire kind of tight so it doesn't hang down and get caught in something or burn against something. Now I just need a hot wire coming over to this switch. Technically I probably ought to put a fuse in that, so let me see if I can find one. I don't know if I have one. Alright, I found an inline fuse. It's a small one, but at least it's one. And can you hear the beep? That means it's working. So the fuse is good. So we're going to put this in line with the red wire. Alright, so we got some red wire here, and I'll strip a little bit off of it. I'll have to put a ring connector on this that will hook up to the battery, to the hot wire on the battery. Hopefully I can find one that'll be big enough to go over that. I'm running low on these things, it looks like. Here's one that I think will go over it. Yep, it will. So have to remember to get some more of these in supply, the larger sizes, because I've got the small ones. See if this will fit in here. This is a fairly heavy gauge wire. I think it'll go. Yep, it went. And I'll use the crimpers built into these dudes to crimp it down. Seems real solid. Alright, so I'm not going to cut the wire off yet. I'll just go ahead and hook it up to the battery here. I could just put another 1/4 nut on there and connect it up that way, because this bolt's long enough, and I think that's just as good or better than for my purposes. Okay, so I've got a 1/4, actually this is a lock nut. I didn't realize that when I got it, but that's probably better. Hopefully it'll screw on here. I'm going to go ahead and get a regular wrench, because that's not working very well. I think a 7/16 will do that, I think. Yep. I guess I'll just cut it about right there and take my chances. There's a cutter on this. It cuts really well, by the way. And then we'll strip it. And then we'll put a regular connector on here. Yep, that worked. And crimp that side. It should work. Trying to decide which side would work better for getting it, putting a different fuse in it if I need one. I guess it'll work like this. strip this off a little bit more. I love those strippers, man. They're fast, easy. Okay, so we'll put this in the connector here for off the battery. Now we'll put a ring connector on this side. Now we can go to the other side of the switch. I don't know which side is, if it's on or not. Yep, that's on. That's off. I can hear the fuel pump kicking on. I hope it's working. Doesn't seem like it's very loud. Pretty weak, actually. So all we gotta do is connect this up, and now we have a switched fuel pump. At least I think we do. As soon as I can get my arthritic hands to cooperate here. Very difficult these days. There we go. I've got the off to the back, which I think is good because it, you know, like when you want to go forward, or when you go forward, you push it to the forward, you know what I'm saying? So I think that makes sense. Well, so on is forward, off is backward, which I think makes sense. Let's get all my tools out of the way, and then we'll give you a demonstration of firing it up first time we try to fire it up. Okay, my friends, I have not tried it, so we're going to find out together if it works. Oh, the key was left on. That ain't good. All right, so I put the air filter cover back over it. Also, not that it matters, but it's on there. So I'm going to turn the fuel pump on first. I can hear it running, but it's barely running. It's just real quiet. And now we're going to start this, or try to. I can tell you right now that's 100% better than it was. 100%. Because when you would turn the blades on in the past, it would instantly kill the engine. While I don't think that fuel pump is overworking, I mean, it doesn't seem to be keeping the float bowl full. I can feel it pumping. So anyway, it's working. I think it's working. The only test I have now is to go out and cut some grass and see if that works. Okay, I'm going to start her up, bring her out here, and drive it around out here in the grass, and we'll see what happens. Yes! Well, my friends, those of you who've been following along, you know I've been struggling with this puppy. I put on different fuel pumps, they just didn't work. Put on an electric fuel pump, bang, it works. I am so tickled, I can't even tell you, and I'm sure Sue's going to be overly excited. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you learned something. We'll see you on the next video. Well, my friends, as you might have been able to deduce from the sound there at the end, it kind of went south again. Sue used it for about 30 minutes straight, cut a lot of grass, and had no trouble at all. Then it just died. Let me back up the truck and say this. For sure, the fuel pump fixed the problem of dying under load. And, when you turn the blades on, it would kill it. Now, it seems to be more in the fact that once it gets hot, it dies. What I suspect is that it's the coils. So I've ordered 2 new coils for that, and I'll be getting those probably Monday or Tuesday. So stay tuned for part 2, and thanks for watching.